Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. I am getting this ready using my Tim Holtz deckled edge paper cutter. I'm going to tag this in the video. And then I'm just wetting down my picture. I'm starting off with my Daniel Smith Undersea green, and I'm also going to be using my Daniel Smith lamp black for this one. And my Artify brush, this is the number 2 brush. So I'm just going to thin out my watercolor. This is a little bit different because these are liquid watercolors rather than using a pan set. So I'm just using my pan to mix them on, but you can really use wax paper or any palette or palette paper will work. And I'm just going to do a light wash. You can see in some areas that I intentionally left some areas white. And now again, since the paper is still wet, I'm going to start creating the trees that are further away from me and are more in the mist. So these are further away. Got a little hair on my brush. So I'm just pulling upward with the brush and then moving side to side just to create the look of the tips of the trees. So I put this in fast forward because you can see I'm just pulling up with the brush. It's no really rhyme or reason to how to do this. You're just kind of creating your tree shapes. Going to just hit this with my heat gun. You can use a hair dryer also on a low setting. That'll work just as well. So now I'm going to go in and get a little bit darker. Again, not too much darker, but these trees are going to be a little bit closer to us and a little bit more out of the fog. So you want them to just be a hair darker than what you were originally painting. So I'm just going back. Again, I start with my vertical tree trunk and then I just move left and right with my paintbrush to create the look of the branches. Another important thing to remember is I am still leaving those areas white in certain spots. So I'm creating layers. So I'm only painting these darker trees on top of areas that I've already painted in a little bit of green. The areas that are white we want to leave as a true white. So we don't want to paint over those. So now once again I'm getting a little bit darker and going back over those areas where I've already created the look of my trees. And if you notice, I'm really only painting the tops of the trees because the fog I wanted to settle more at the base of the tree. So I'm really only going to be painting mostly the tops of the trees and then just letting them fade at the bottom. And just going to give another quick hit with the heat gun. Okay, now I'm going in, and these are the trees that are going to be closer to me. So these are kind of be existing in front of the fog. So again, I started with that vertical line, and then I'm just going left and right, creating the look of the branches that are hanging down from the tree. And I'm not really worried about the base of the tree because I do want it to still look like there's a bit of fog at the base. So I'm just going to let those colors run together. You can see I'm just using the leftovers on my brush to create some trees that are a little bit further behind this one. So these are again going to be a little bit lighter because they are further back and they are more in the mist. And you can just start layering your trees wherever you'd like them to be. There's no right or wrong way to do this. You pick where your trees are going to be and you pick where the fog is. Now I'm just laying in some of the grass or mountain area that's a little bit closer to us. Just darkening the area in front of me, kind of creating the look of a valley that's existing behind that foreground. So I just went in and added some darker green in the front. I'm going to hit this with my heat gun to dry. Again, this is going to help you do layers. If you didn't dry your painting in between your layers, you would run the risk of them all bleeding together. So now again, I am working on my trees that are super close. So we are going to get, using a lot more of our lamp black here because we want them to be very pronounced. And these are going to be in front of the fog. And here are just some baby trees and some sticks and just some more foliage that is close to us in the foreground. So again, there's no right or wrong here, just kind of making some wispy lines, giving the hint that there's something here. We just don't know really what it is. Is it a stick? Is it a tree? Just again, creating some layers and more depth. I wanted to go ahead and even darken the area slightly more, so just using a little more lamp black just to add a darker layer on top of the already green trees that I have. And I'm ready to hit this with my heat gun and call this one finished. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. This is probably my last one for winter. I'm going to start moving into some spring painting.